Hello and welcome to the Real Estate Regroup Show. I am your host, LJ Walker, a real estate investor helping you realize your dreams of owning a home or just investing in them. Today I want to go over the fact that we need to really verify our sources because, see, sometimes the information that we're receiving is secondhand information. Sometimes it's third hand. Sometimes we don't even know which hand it is because we don't ask, right? So you want to make sure that the information that you're getting is as accurate as possible, all right? You want to know, did these people see these things for themselves or did they hear it from someone else? Where exactly did they get that information from? You see, some people are not exactly good listeners. Sometimes, and then you also have others who they listen, but they're not really hearing what a person is saying. They're not active listeners. They're like doing a million other things while you're talking. So they only hear maybe like 40% of what you actually said. And so when they go and they repeat it to somebody else, it's all misconstrued and combobulated, right? The next thing you want to also consider is, and I hate to say it like this, but how smart are they? Some people don't learn the same way. They don't retain the same way. Some people actually that are slow learners, they hold on to information longer than a person who is a fast learner. That's something that I do see. But then you have some people that I'm not sure if they have some type of learning disability or what, but they don't really comprehend what you're saying properly. So when they, or from anyone properly. So when they are coming to you with whatever it is that they quote unquote say they found out, it's not completely accurate, and sometimes it's not accurate at all. Then as far as the people who may have said, well, yeah, I was there, I seen it, you got to also consider, well, what vantage point were they when they saw X, Y, and Z? Were they behind, in front, next to it? Do they have any kind of astigmatism? Like, do they wear glasses? Because sometimes, you think you see something, especially if it's at a distance, but you realize later as you get close, what you saw is not necessarily what you thought it was. And this is especially true for people who wear glasses. It is, I'm telling you. And you just can't trust other people's eyes. Let me give you a really good example. I'm not sure if this game is being played today or not, but back when I was in school, there was something called a broken telephone game that our teachers made us play. It wasn't done all the time, but what it was the teacher would whisper something in the ear of one student, and then that student would turn around and tell the other student, whispering it, and it would, go all the way throughout the whole entire class. So through like 35 students. At the end, after the last person gets the whisper, the teacher would say, okay, this is what I said. Then she would have that 35th student say, okay, what were you told? And the story was completely different. Sometimes it wasn't even a story. Sometimes it was just a word, but the word was completely different. Every time they played this game, this is what would happen. Sometimes the word or the story would be the same, and then somewhere in the middle, normally around the 7th person, the word would change, the phrase would change, everything would change. And so by the time it got to, and then it would change again when it got to, let's say, the 10th person or the 14th person, and then it would change again. So that's why when it got to the 35th person, it was a completely different word or a completely different story. Okay, so that's why we got to be so careful, because see, here's the thing. Words, many of them have different meanings, different connotations. Some people are just used to using certain words over another word. So if you say nice to some people, they may not necessarily repeat that you said nice. They'll say good. And then, good has, someone else will say, oh, you said it was good. They say, oh, it was great, and it'll just continue to go on and on and on. The word will change for whatever reason. And then back then, sometimes we would say, oh, that's bad, but bad meant good because that was the slang at the time, right? But someone from another country, bad means bad. It doesn't mean good. So that, again, that's why the whole story would change. And that's why you got to be careful who you're listening to and find out who they are listening to and were they even actively listening when they were hearing the story, or were they actively even paying attention to what was actually going on? Because that's another thing too. Sometimes you're watching a movie and then you have to get up and go to the bathroom. So there's like a whole scene that you missed, while the other people who were still sitting there, they saw that part of the movie. I'm talking about when you're in the movie theater, not when you're at home. But yes, so all of these things definitely play a part, right? Then the other thing you want to find out is, what is the person's motives? Are they trying to be popular? Or are they doing it for money? Or are they doing it because they care about your well-being? Or what? Let's face it, most of us that are on YouTube who have channels, yeah, we want our channels to grow. We want to be seen to a certain extent, right? We want to be heard. I would really prefer to just be heard rather than seen, but that's a totally different story altogether, right? But I want to make a difference is part of it, right? And yes, I do have a book to sell, and yes, I came out with some courses as well. But you have other people who it's really only about views and likes. They don't have anything to sell. They don't have anything that they're offering. They make their money on YouTube. YouTube is their source of income, right? And that's it. They don't have anything else going on in the background, right? But then you have some people who, and this is what I see that I don't really care for too much. Some people are taking it to the level where they're being slanderous. And that's not only dangerous to you, the person who's listening to it, it actually is a little bit dangerous to YouTube. Because I remember when I was writing my book, my publisher says, oh no, you got to take some things out of your book. Because the thing is that if the person, because I was angry when I wrote my book, the person can sue me, but they can also sue my publisher. You see, and when we upload our YouTube videos, even though they're ours, I noticed that it says, are you ready to publish your video? There's a button for you to press publish. So I think that YouTube has a certain level of responsibility when it comes to the videos that's on its platform, because they own the platform. Those of us who make videos, most of us don't, of course, unless, and even if you say, oh, well, I got stock in Google or whatever. Nah, stop it. They may be in trouble. That's also why they have the report button, where a person can click on that and report you for, any number of different things, right? So that is another reason why we got to be careful. Now, of course, it's hard to flag every single video that's slanderous, and it's not always easy to determine whether or not you can trust or you can't. Basically, listen, keep it, a grain of salt, see if it eventually comes true. And if they have somewhat of a proven track record, then you probably can say to yourself, okay, this is someone that I can trust to a certain degree. But even the people who you can trust to a certain degree, you still have to be cautious, because I have followed some people who, for the most part, were accurate, but then they'll say one thing that I know is completely inaccurate. Like, I have the receipts, I can look it up, when I go to, like, let's say, the city recorder's office. I know when you, for example, someone had said something regarding T.D. Jakes as far as him not doing anything for the community, but there are places where you can actually go online and look it up, in the city of Dallas, in Atlanta, and now Miami, and you can see, no, he is doing something for the community. Okay, so I do, I can't question the other stuff. I'm not sure about the other stuff, but as far as him being part of a real estate development, yeah, I know that. And when people say stuff like that, I'm like, ooh, that's a little bit slanderous like that. Slow your roll. Everything that they say, everything that all of us say, including myself, we got to produce what? Receipts, pictures, and videos. Undoctored, by the way. Because a lot of times, I don't remember the name, but for some reason it keeps on coming up on my timeline. I can tell that some of the pictures that they have put up on all of the celebrities are doctored. They're not authentic at all. Because I was like, even when I look at it, I can tell that something is definitely off, right? They probably used AI to modify what you actually see. So you got to be careful about that, But in all, I would say, sometimes the people who give you information, not all of them mean to mislead you, even though they do. And not all of them really mean to hurt or destroy you or maybe another person or thing that they're making reference to, whether they do or not. But then you do have a few people, unfortunately, who that is their ammo, because it seems as though, and I'm not sure if it's the viewers' issue or if it's YouTube or social media in general, but it seems as though the more controversial it is, the more it's pumped, the more it's pushed out, as opposed to when a person just speaks about, certain things that they know. When you want to just share certain information, it doesn't get pushed out, unless it's like fashion or beauty, that'll get pushed out. But everything else, it has to be around something that's controversial. So again, I'm not sure if it's the people the viewers or if it's the platform itself. That I don't know. But what I will say is, just to repeat, don't be too quick to believe the first, second, or even third thing that you hear, especially from people that you don't know well. All right? You want to cross-examine whatever it is that you heard, especially when it comes to things dealing with your time, your money, your mental health, your spiritual health. You want to cross-examine it, okay? And then, of course, re-inspect it. If you can, look at it for yourself. And if you can't do all of these things, again, keep whatever you heard. It's a grain of salt. Keep it at a grain of salt. Because I'm telling you, miscommunication and misunderstandings, they are devils. They can mess up a connection, like a networking situation, relationship, if you will, and they can also mess up a deal really, really, really bad. Okay? And it can also mess with your money and your time. So guys, just tread lightly. So again, that's all I have for you. Hopefully the information that I've shared will help you make smart financial moves, smart relationship moves. Feel free to pass this amongst your friends. Remember, each one, reach one, teach one. Bye for now. Until next time, have a good night.